Hi, I'm Elisa Wood, the editor-in-chief of Microgrid Knowledge, and I'm here today with Eric Spenholm. Eric is the vice president for non-wires alternatives with S&C Electric. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much, Elisa. I'm happy to be with you.
So let's dive in. You have a very interesting theme that you'd like to explore today, and that is tension. And I have to admit, I have never done an interview before on this particular topic, so I'm really fascinated by what you have to say. So tell me a little bit about why you want to talk about tension in the energy industry.
The concept of tension came to me in the context of thinking about the different dynamics that are affecting microgrids today in 2020. And we've come a long way over the last decade that, in my mind, was really the first decade of microgrids' existence. And now that we're entering the second decade, what are the trends that are characterizing the future of this industry? And attention is the word that came to my mind because in several dimensions, there are factors at play and forces at play that might be pushing and pulling against each other. And it may be the case that one side or another eventually wins out, or it could be the case that this undecided state persists and becomes the new equilibrium. And the fact that we have several dimensions or areas of this kind of tension facing our industry, I find is very interesting, and it means that we're at another interesting inflection point for the industry.
Yeah. So a lot of customers are listening today. They're from universities, they're from commercial industrial facilities, they're from their home builders, just all kinds of customers. How does how can they relate to this discussion?
Yeah, there are a lot of pressures for customers, a lot of objectives they're trying to meet at the same time. And some of those are easy to reconcile, and some of those are in opposition or in tension. For example, customers are always looking for an economic rationale for their investments. And at the same time, we know that microgrids are a large capital intensive investment. At the same time, increasingly customers want their energy security and their resilience to be paired with increasing levels of sustainability. And in some cases, those objectives are aligned, and in other cases, they might be in opposition, and that might be a state that persists, or it can be one that gets resolved over time.
It seems like one of the key tensions in the industry is sustainability versus resiliency. Or another way to think about it, I guess, is renewables versus fossil fuels. Um, how do we reconcile that tension?
That is a very real tension today. And I think time will help us here as renewables, including solar, wind, and battery energy storage, become more economical and more durably reliable and establish a track record for long-term reliability. But today, we do have this tension between fossil fuel generators simply being very economical and very effective and resilient in day-to-day operations, while renewables don't exhibit those features to the same extent. And so you do have the situation today where, in many cases, you are forced into a decision between an economical and highly reliable 24/7 solution in the form of, for example, natural gas generators, when you really would prefer a solar plus storage solution. But we're seeing that in real world applications, for example, in California, in wildfire response, quickly deploying fully renewable resources that can island and isolate and provide community power for multiple days at a stretch, perhaps multiple weeks, it's a very challenging proposition. And even today, utilities have decided that they're going to have to make do with fossil fuel sources in the near term as we keep an eye on the future for what can be the next step.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Eric. Appreciate this interview, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Microgrid 2020.
Thank you very much.